What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. I am here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a very special guest that's coming on with me today, as she is a CBS sports reporter and she covers women's college basketball and also the WNBA. She was born in Mexico and she went to the University of New Mexico. Without any further ado, I introduce to you guys Isabel Gonzalez. Isabel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Really excited to do this.
I'm excited to have you here. I think you're absolutely amazing. But I'm not breaking any news. I think anybody who's worked with you or anybody who's been around you will say the same thing for sure. Um, I want to get to this first question, and that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models, any inspirations growing up? But ultimately, what led you into wanting a career in sports journalism?
I knew this question was coming, and I still feel like it's a tough thing to answer because I feel like there's a lot of ways to answer why. Obviously, I like sports, so that's like an easy way to answer that. But the real why, I guess, is because so I was born in Mexico,
Yeah.
and with that, I didn't really watch basketball growing up or anything like that. Like, I watched more soccer, and even then, it's not like I was like a huge sports fan, but like my dad was or he is. So always like something on TV. Um, but moving from Mexico to the US, I just saw how much sacrifice my parents made and how hard they worked, even in Mexico and here, like their entire lives. So I think for me, I came to the US when I was 11. So
Okay.
I just decided, if I'm here, I'm gonna like chase the American dream, I'm gonna do the best I can, make my parents proud, make myself proud, just, do as much as I can. And at first, I didn't know I was going to go into sports. I thought I was going into advertising or film. I had
Mm,
a film mentor when I was in college. I did
sure.
a couple film projects in Albuquerque because it's kind of like a mini Hollywood. They film Breaking Bad there and stuff. So,
Yes, they did. Yep.
going to film school there is kind of like, okay,
Hmm.
well, you have a little bit of an in. But in at UNM, there's not professional sports in New Mexico really, not like at the top level. So the biggest thing
Right.
is college basketball, and my dad would take us to go watch the games at the pit when I was in high school. And I was like, hey, when I go to UNM, because I figured I would end up going there. I feel like everybody in Albuquerque ends up going there. Um,
Sure.
I was like, okay, this is a really cool environment. And long story short, like I somehow ended up in sports. And when I was writing for the school paper at UNM, I was like, I want to cover the biggest thing. And just the thing that's like, everybody's more into, which was college basketball, the Lobos men's basketball team. So
Yep.
I started doing that. And, I saw I was doing a pretty good job in sports and media, which I didn't think I was going to do. But
Mhm.
once I realized, hey, maybe I have a future in this, I should just see how far I can go, prove to myself, like, hey, like, we're not just gonna settle for this. We're gonna, like, keep going and going. So, yeah, like, after college, I started freelancing. I work with SB Nation. I cover
Yep.
Gonzaga men's basketball, a lot of other West Coast teams. I was doing men's basketball, men's college, then NBA. And then I got hired at CBS Sports eventually, and they were like, "Hey, like we have a lot of our senior men's basketball writers. Do you want to kind of like try the women's side? I feel like you could be, your skills, you can translate them to that." So that was such an
Sure.
honor, and to me, that was kind of like, "Oh my God, okay, this is another why, I guess." Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of people talking about men's basketball, and here I was, just trying to cover the biggest thing I could for me, my family, and then here I was like, well, there's another purpose, like now you can also help elevate women's sports. And I still do men's basketball, but like I take the lead for women, so I have a lot of whys, and that's my long answer.
No, that's okay. Sometimes it is a long answer, and everybody's why is different. Some people just happens to fall into their lap. Some people wake up and say, I want to do this from the, very beginning age. Some people it just happens by accident. It's all different kind of whys, and that's why I love asking the question because everybody's story is worth telling. right? You're so used to writing the stories. I'm so used to writing the stories because we're used to talking to sources and interviewing people and writing stories that's impactful to the community. But Isabel, you have a story too to tell, right? And nobody will know your story unless people ask you about it. So that's why it's important. I think it's just as important as the stories that you write. So yeah, your why is definitely amazing to hear. No question about that. Um, you're very welcome. You went to the University of New Mexico. Were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to New Mexico, or were you dead set on University of Mexico, no other school I'm going to apply to?
So funny enough, I didn't want to go to the University of New Mexico. When I was in high school, I remember junior year, I was telling my advisor, no, we're not doing that.
Hmm.
I wanted
Hmm.
to go to, I think it's called FIDM. It's like a fashion school, fashion media school.
Okay, okay.
Really accredited. So my advisor was like, I want you to go to a school where you can get a degree and not
Hmm.
just the experience, you know? And I mean, they have a degree, but it's not the same. So I was like, okay, fine, let me see. And I was looking at a lot of like the LA schools, but they're expensive. And I have a brother, so my parents were like, hey, listen, you have a brother that also is going to college, so lower your expectations unless you can get like a full ride scholarship somewhere. Um,
Right.
and I was looking at a lot of like film programs and stuff, advertising programs. Um, and then my advisor told me UNM actually has a film program, and it's like a very, it's not exclusive, but it's like a pretty good program where Albuquerque Studios is right in front of the building where you take classes. So, you know, that
Sure.
kind of sold me. I was like, wait, I can stay close to my family. I can go to school here. There's a scholarship you get if you live in New Mexico. So school isn't going to be expensive at all. I was going to be able to, you know, stay with my friends because a lot of them were going to UNM. So that just seemed like a no-brainer. They take
Mm.
70 people a year. So, you know, I just had to get in. I didn't have a backup plan. I'm like, I'm going to get into that program. So
I feel
I
that. I feel that.
got in. I got into the honors college at UNM because I figured, okay, I want to, you know, take care of my education, also the experience. So yeah, like, yes, there could have been other schools that pursued me that I could have, like, you know, maybe gone to, but I don't know. I just wanted to do something where I knew I could get experience and just be in the best way possible for after I graduated. And UNM turned out to be a really good choice because even my freshman year, I did my first internship. And freshmen are usually not allowed to do internships, but I was able to do stuff with the Mountain West Network, filming sports for
Mm.
UNM. So it was really cool because I got to cover some Mountain West tournaments when I was still a freshman. So, you know, I don't think I could have gotten that experience in a lot of other places.
Absolutely. I mean, everything just kind of lined up for you, but that also goes to show with your work ethic as well. You said you got a scholarship that you applied to UNM to help you out with the cost, and then you said you had a brother. So I'm guessing he's younger
Yes.
brother.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Is he in college now or no?
No, no. He also graduated. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
like he's 2 years younger. So you know, I was when you come from a different country, I feel like you don't know a lot of like, or I guess people don't think about how you don't really know how school works. Because I remember
Hmm.
not knowing what AP classes were in high school. My parents
Sure.
didn't either. So it wasn't until like junior or senior year when I realized, hey, maybe I should have been taking these. And kind of like a funny story on that, it wasn't even just the, you know, honors or AP classes. When I
Hmm.
first moved to the US, I was in South Carolina. And
Oh,
they
okay.
had this weird program where if you're from somewhere else, whether you speak English perfectly or not, you have to be in ESL for like 3 years or something like that. And even if you test
Really?
100%, yeah, it was crazy because I already spoke
Mm.
English. Like in Mexico, there are some bilingual schools, so I was already fluent, but um, I had to take ESL for like I only lived there 2 years. So I had to take 2 consecutive years, even though I aced my test. They would pull me out of class to go with an ESL teacher, and I just kind of played board games there because there was not much for me to learn. Um, but then when I moved to New Mexico, I remember like just being like, "Well, where's my ESL class?" And they were like, "What are you talking about? You speak English." And I always kind of sold myself short. I think I never thought I could write. It's kind of crazy. I'm a writer because I always
Right.
told myself, well, English is your second language, so you're not going to be, you know, a writer or something like that. And I remember, I think it was maybe junior year of high school, my teacher was like, "Why are you here? Why are you not in honors English?" And I was like, "What? Like, shouldn't I be in ESL?" She was like, "No, you should
Right.
be in honors."
Right.
So I think sometimes, you let people kind of determine like what you're gonna do, and you don't like try to push yourself more because you assume that's the best you can do. But I don't know, that was like a big learning lesson for me. And then I remember telling my brother like, "Hey, take AP classes, join all these clubs," because that's what I learned later in high school, and I would try to like coach him through high school. So yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool of a big sister, a moment that you're doing with your little brother like that. You just never know because you assume when people tell you things that, oh man, this is where I must fit, or this is where I must be placed. Not knowing that, people just don't know what you're capable of, or don't know what you are, what you can do unless you try to do it. And that's the one thing you will learn about, being in any industry, but definitely journalism. You want to push yourself as much as
Yeah.
you possibly can in this industry as well. So I'm glad that you did that for sure, and glad that you had that big sis moment as well. I want to ask you some favorite questions. So you just give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions, Isabel. Okay, so here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Ooh, favorite meal. This is gonna be a boring one because I feel like I have a lot of favorites. So, I mean, I'll say pasta. Like, definitely love to make pasta in my own sauce.
Okay.
So I know it's boring, but like, it's just nice when you make your own sauce. You throw the most cheese you can, or as you can handle. All the garlic, all the Italian spices. So definitely that's my favorite. But I've also been roasting a lot of vegetables. I know that's boring too,
Mm,
but I don't know. I've
mm,
been trying to eat healthier, so I realized it's so easy to just get like frozen vegetables, put olive oil, spices, put it in the oven, and then boom, you have a healthy snack. So that's been my
mm.
go-to this summer because I have a dietitian I'm working with just to like try to eat better and be like at my best. So, I figured that would make her happy and that would save me a lot of time. So
For sure. Is there a particular pasta that you like, whether it's a fettuccine Alfredo, rigatoni, ziti? Or do you just like all pasta?
they're all the pastas, honestly. I did
Hmm.
try, it sounds weird, but there's this pasta that's made with just black beans. And it sounds
Mm,
worse than it is. Like it's actually pretty good, but it's literally
okay.
just black beans. I got it at Ross. Out of all the places you could buy food, it was Ross. And at first I thought that was gonna taste terrible, but I actually really like it and it's, healthy for you. So that's my go-to right now. It's just this
Mm,
black pasta that's just beans and spaghetti.
okay.
Spaghetti.
Okay. Well, when you find out the name of that, please hit me up and let me know so I can possibly try to make that because I'm a huge pasta lover too. Although my favorite dish to make is tacos. Steak, chicken, or turkey, ground beef, it doesn't matter. I can whip it up pretty good. So that's
Tacos
what's up.
are obviously amazing. They're my
Hmm.
culture, so I love them. But I mean, I like to make them, but I think my favorite tacos I can't make. They're tacos al pastor. I don't know if you know what those are, but they're
Mm-mm.
the tacos that they make with that like cone thing. And then
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
so obviously, like it's hard to make that myself. And you have to have the right spices. So that's the one thing I'm picky with. I'm not a picky eater, but when it comes to those tacos, if I don't see them cooking it with that cone and the pineapple, then I just assume they're not legit.
Listen, hey, you know what you like, so it's okay. You know what you're looking for, so I respect that. I do. I love that. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Ooh, Bad Bunny. I
Oh,
went to Bad
okay.
Bunny last year with my best friend in Chicago, and it's funny because she didn't really speak Spanish, but I was like, hey, it's a fun vibe. And it was a very popular concert at the time, so we had to buy it like a couple months in advance. And I literally flew into Chicago for like less than 48, well, maybe 48 hours. Maybe a little bit less, but I flew in because it was March. I had to fly in, go to the concert, and then I had to leave to go, cover the tournament. But it was so worth it. Did I sleep a lot? No, but it was so fun.
That's what's up. Now, are you still located in the West Coast or are you in the Midwest?
West Coast, West Coast. Yeah, I just flew into
Okay, gotcha.
Chicago because of that concert and my best friends there. But I cover everything nationally, so I'm kind of everywhere. Like I'll be in Atlanta in like 3 weeks. So
Wow, yeah. No, the reason why I asked is because I was born in Chicago. I wasn't raised in Chicago, but I was born there. My mom and dad are from, they're born and raised there. So I have a lot of ties to Chicago. And yeah, it's a very special city in my heart for sure.
beautiful.
Bad Bunny is a good concert. It is a good concert, no doubt about it. Weekend is my favorite concert, which I also saw him at Soldier Field, which was in Chicago as well. And that was amazing. I love the Weekend. I love R&B, love that hip hop. I love that kind of style of music. But one concert that really kind of surprised me that a lot of ladies was really going crazy for was Romeo Santos. I was like, Lord have mercy. This man, he's only singing like one lyric and they're like yelling and screaming and running and chasing him. Like, because he
Yeah.
walked out into the crowd. They just wanted to grab a piece of him. And I was like, what is going on? I didn't even know who he was until somebody told me who Romeo Santos was.
I can see that. That's so funny. I've never
Hmm.
gone to one of his concerts. I listened to some songs, maybe more like the original ones. I haven't listened to him in a while, but I can totally see that.
Yeah, it was wild. I remember doing security for him because I was doing event security, and he was walking into the crowd, and it was just girls lunging at him, trying to get to him. Um, and I'm more of a person when I go to concerts, Isabel, I like to be upbeat. I mean, upbeat music, kind of upbeat style. So, Ozuna is somebody also that's one of my favorite people. I love me
Oh,
some
that's
Ozuna.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, I love Ozuna. No question about that. So yeah, that's my style. That's my vibe.
Wait, I don't know if
Favorite
you
pl
oh sorry. I don't know
Go
if you're into
no.
EDM, but one thing I would
Hmm.
recommend, I mean it's kind of a concert, I guess. Go to the Sphere in Las Vegas. I watched
Mm.
Anima earlier this year, and that's an EDM artist. He's not there anymore, but there will be others. But at this Sphere, it's so cool. Like I would watch anything at this Sphere just because of like that giant screen. So I
Hmm.
recommend that. And like the visuals for Anima, like EDM has a lot of visuals. So those were just like mind blowing.
Yeah, typically I go to Vegas almost every year because of the summer league, so I get to cover that. I didn't go this past year, unfortunately, but I haven't seen the Sphere yet. But I definitely plan on next time I go to Vegas to see that. I do like EDM. Skrillex. Have you ever heard of Skrillex
Yes.
before? Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's one of my favorite groups for sure. And I'm a huge DJ player, so like Avicii, Tiesto, David Guetta. People like that. Kygo is another one that's one of my favorites. Yeah, so I'm really into that kind of style of music because I
We
love the
got
mixing. Yeah, right. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I love all different kinds of music and I love to just kind of move and dance, even though I have two left feet. I really can't I really can't dance well, but
matter.
it's still moving. Right? Doesn't matter, right? I'm still moving and grooving. So that's what it is. Favorite place you've ever traveled to,
Favorite place. I like so many for different reasons, but I really like La Jolla, like in San Diego. I love the ocean. I
Isabel?
think it's just really cool to kind of like feel, you're away from the city and in a different world. And I feel like going in the water, that's kind of what it feels like. Like the world just disappears. And I like snorkeling. There's a place in La Jolla where you can snorkel with leopard sharks. They're not dangerous.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
can see like sea lions and stuff. So I really love that. That's a thing that, you can just take the train down from like OC and then just go over there for a weekend. It's so fun. To me, it's just relaxing. It's peaceful. So maybe that, La Jolla.
Definitely familiar with La Jolla. As I told you, I was born in Chicago, but I was raised in San Diego. My dad was in the Navy, so he moved us out to San Diego. I was very early age, and I'm definitely familiar with La Jolla and exactly what you're talking about. I love swimming with sharks, dolphins. I love that kind of stuff. I'm an adventurous guy. I've done skydiving twice. I love that.
Oh no.
Yeah, I love that. But there are some things I probably will press pause on. Bungee jumping, I don't think I will bungee jump. I think I'm gonna press pause on that one. But I do like adventurous stuff like that. I love La Jolla beaches, and I love going down to San Diego. Still have family there, but it's rare that I get a chance to get out there. But when I do, I'm going to the beach and Pacific Beach, in particular, because I love that area for sure. Okay. But my favorite area, my favorite place, just to mention it, is Jamaica. When I went there, it was great vibes, great food, great people, great beaches. Again, the water was as blue as a contact. It was just so clear and blue. It was so beautiful. So really love my time there for sure.
That sounds great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're sports people, so I got to ask you a favorite sports question. It's a two-part question. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person? They could be the same sport.
Oof. Obviously, I'm biased. Like I go to a lot of basketball games, and I really enjoy that.
Hmm.
Um, but you know what? I'll say basketball for watching on TV, and for going in person. Maybe soccer. I think when
Mm.
you go to a soccer game, like I went to one, it was like US versus Mexico in Denver. It was crazy. I think soccer fans are just like a whole another level.
Without
You have like
question.
the scarves and like everybody's just so like into it. Not that they're not into it in basketball, but I feel like soccer is just different. So I think that's really
Mm.
cool to just be part of that environment.
No question. Used to live out in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I went to school at and graduated, Kennesaw State University. And I used to go to the Atlanta United games quite a bit to sit in the supporter section. And if anybody knows the supporter section, they're standing up the entire game and they're cheering loud. They're not sitting down. It's a vibe. People are bringing scarves. They're painting their faces. They're cheering all game long. And it's like, man, 45 minutes straight each half they're doing their thing. So yeah, it's a vibe going to one of those games for sure. But I have to also agree with you. Basketball is my favorite sport. Um, no question about it. I told you I grew up in California, so I'm a huge Lakers fan, huge Kobe fan. That's why I got into sports because I love Kobe Bryant. Um, and yeah, so I love basketball. And my college basketball teams is USC and the Tar Heels. I love those. So I'm actually pretty excited because this next year I'm going to be covering the first and second round of March Madness. Um, and I'm definitely gonna be doing that for sure because it's in my vicinity where I will be, which is in New York. Because I'm actually headed there to New York from Minnesota. So yes.
That's exciting. Yeah, it's a really fun experience to cover March Madness, like any of the
Mm,
rounds.
absolutely. And it'll be my first time because I've never got a chance to cover March Madness at all. So this will be my first time doing that for sure.
Hit me up with any questions because, I have a lot of experience with that.
Oh, we definitely gonna stay in touch. There's no question about that. And no question. I appreciate that too. Last of the favorites. Favorite place that you like to eat out at? I'm a huge foodie person. I love food and I also love traveling. So, um, favorite place that you like to eat out at?
I love food, so I have a million answers for that. But my best friend who lives in Chicago, whenever she's in California, we have a tradition to get a hot dog, like a street hot dog, but the California style, the one wrapped in bacon. And then we have to
Hmm.
eat it at the Santa Monica Pier, just like at the end of the pier and just watch the ocean. And recently, like, they have these rules for like how you have to cook food and stuff. So the hot dog vendors on the Santa Monica Pier, like the last time we went, they are different. They're, covered and stuff, but the ones you want are the ones that are cash only and actually on the sidewalk. So we left the pier, we went to the sidewalk, got a hot dog, and then went back to the edge of the pier. But we've done that a couple of times. I don't know, like the hot dog's just so good because, you are out at the beach all day and
Hmm.
then you just want something to eat and then you smell that bacon being cooked like out in the open
Yep.
air, like you're gonna want that hot dog. And then, you have like the nice view. Like that's my favorite. It's just something simple that you can just grab and walk around and eat.
Okay. Now I'm definitely used to that. No question about it. Growing up in California and been to Santa Monica plenty of times. Uh, have you heard of Wiener Schnitzel? Have you heard of that
Yes.
place? Okay, so prior to me heading to the Midwest out here, that was my place. I used to go there quite a bit because I was a huge chili dog person. Like it was an obsession that was just crazy, Isabel. It really was. But I was a chili cheese dog person. I loved hot dogs and with chili and the cheese on it. And I used to always like eat that almost I would say almost every other week. At least one time I had to get it. Are you a fan of Wiener Schnitzel?
I've only tried it one time, I think, and I wasn't a huge fan. I feel like I just ordered the wrong thing, or maybe I just wasn't in the mood that
Mm,
day. But I would give it another chance, to be honest, because it does look
okay.
good. Every time I look at the
Mm,
menu, I'm like, yeah, like I'm craving that. So
okay.
yeah, right now I'll
Okay.
say not so much, but I feel like I would give it another chance.
Have you been to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles out there?
Yes, once. That was pretty
Okay. That's my favorite restaurant, for sure. Out there. I love going there, but I love chicken and waffles. So just happens to be Roscoe's. But yeah, I love that restaurant out there. Every time I go out there, I gotta try it.
Chicken and waffles was such a fun thing for me to try because, again,
Hmm.
coming from Mexico, um,
Hmm.
I think a lot of the regular foods here are kind of weird to us, I guess, or not weird, but just like unusual. So, like chicken
Sure.
and waffles, it's like okay, sweet and savory, sweet and salty together. And I remember like the first time I would visit the U.S. When I was younger before I moved here, I was like, whoa, like people have bacon with their waffles and they have like honey and stuff. Like that blew my mind. And I tried it. I thought it was so good. And then the same thing with peanut butter and jelly. Like I didn't have a lot of peanut butter and jelly growing up as a kid. But then you're like, oh my
Hmm.
God, peanut butter is amazing. And that's like one of my favorite things. But it's stuff like that that's like, oh yeah, chicken and waffles. Like my friends from Mexico are kind of like, what? But, it's normal here and I totally get the hype.
Yep. When I came over here to the Midwest, before I get to the next question, do you know about carne asada fries? Carne asada fries. Do you know about those?
It's just fries with carne asada. Like,
Yeah, like carne asada, fries and cheeses on it. You can get
oh yeah,
guacamole as well. There was a
yeah.
place that used to be called Carmen's out there, where you can, get some Hispanic food, Mexican food, and it was good. But when I came to the Midwest, they looked at me like I was foreign. Like I was like, "Can I have some carne asada fries, please?" They was like, "No, there's no such thing." I'm telling you, there is definitely a such thing as carne asada fries, and they were so delicious. I used to always get them when I was out there in the West Coast too, for sure.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. I haven't really had too many of those, but it's like nachos, right? Like just throw whatever you
Hmm.
want. So why can't
Yep.
you do the same thing with fries? Not that weird.
Right, right. I'm telling you, Isabel, it was just crazy, crazy nonsense people was talking out here. Um, let's talk about your day to day, right? As a journalist, I know you know, no 2 days are never the same. We're always covering different stories, we're always talking to different people, we're always doing different things, which is why we love this job because it provides us with something that is the unknown. It provides us with some excitement. You never know how the game is going to turn out or how the day is going to turn out. I have to be honest with you. I don't think I could do a 9 to 5 job sitting at a desk. I think I'll be bored out of my damn mind, to be honest with you, doing the same thing over and over again. Tell me how your day-to-day process is because you're working and you're also traveling. Like you said, you're leaving for Atlanta in 3 weeks, and I'm sure there's going to be another gig where you got to leave again and travel all the time. So tell me how your day-to-day operations go.
So yeah, not really a normal day, I guess. But I guess it depends also like on the season, right? Like March, I'm out like wherever. I'm not home at all. I'm just traveling. I do my laundry at hotels. So that's a different type of day. But
Hmm.
like a regular day, like right now before I travel, pretty much just like I used to have more of a regular shift because I used to be on the trending desk. And that's kind of like our news desk now, where you kind of write whatever's obviously trending on social media or like big stories that are happening. But it's just
Sure.
kind of like, well, here's what's happening, boom, out. And then you do stuff like tennis. Like I was the lead for tennis as well. So if
Okay.
there's a Grand Slam, I would cover that. So my day would start with, the matches, like update scores and stuff like that. And then your shift ends and maybe your workday ends, but sometimes you have an interview or you're transcribing something because I also did basketball and I took more of an analyst role there. So
Right.
that was still a little more structure. Now I'm mainly focused on features. And
Mhm.
mainly basketball, but I still do a few other things. And I have a shift, but not really. I just like sometimes it doesn't work with interviews. Like I'm on the West Coast, and sometimes someone wants to do an interview East Coast time, so my day will start earlier because they want a morning interview. So I do
Right.
that. Um, it's every morning I kind of wake up, just okay, do I have anything to do today? Do I have a podcast? Do I have interviews? Am I supposed to be emailing somebody? So I take care of that in the morning. I just have coffee, breakfast. I really like to start with breakfast because
Hmm.
I feel like that it's at least a little routine, right? Like it centers you. I talked to a sports psychologist and he said, the first thing in the morning, you want to do something that like uses all your senses to really help you get started with your day. And I feel like to me, that's cooking breakfast, whether it's just like eggs or avocado toast or something like that.
Sure.
I feel like
Sure.
that's how I start. And I'm always hungry waking up anyway, so it works for me. But,
No,
have
I love
breakfast,
that.
email people. Um, then I'll check in. I'll say hello on our Slack channel, and I'm like, well, I'm around today for there's 3 games tonight. Let me know if we need anything. And usually I have features I'm working on. So if I do the interview, I'll do that. Then I try to transcribe it, and then I'll do like a rough draft. Ideally, I want to finish that feature the same day, but a lot of the times that doesn't happen because I have games that night or something.
Hmm.
So, my day is just like a to-do list, and, it's me trying not to procrastinate anything or try to get out of my writer's block. But, that's kind of
Sure,
it. Just, what do I have to do today? Do I have to leave my house, force myself to sit at a coffee shop till I finish a story?
sure.
It's a very chill, non-structured, but kind of structured day. Uh, that's the best way I can explain it.
No, that's amazing. It is. I'm sure you do LA Sparks games? You do LA Sparks games?
Not too much.
Not
No,
too
I've done
much.
a few, but not
Okay,
not too many. Yeah.
not too many.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I cover a lot of teams. And with the LA
Oh,
Sparks, like,
okay.
I do cover WNBA, but I don't take the lead for that necessarily. Somebody else does.
Mhm.
I'll help with other
Got you.
things because I mainly take the lead for women's college, and then I'll still
Mm,
take like I guess second lead to WNBA. But because we cover so many teams, I can't be at all the games in LA. Where
right.
I am, like I can't. Like I was in Chicago, I didn't go to like the 2 Chicago games that were happening at the time because if you have other stuff going on, if there are other games that we want to cover,
Mhm.
you want to be available for that. So we're usually keeping track of like the bigger games or like the players we're tracking and stuff. So
Sure, sure,
yeah.
absolutely. Which is a great segue of a question that I have, and that's work-life balance and mental health. Obviously, Isabel, working in this industry, mental health can be affected in a plethora of ways. And I've known many journalists that have stepped away from this industry because their mental health was affected, or their work-life balance. It's very tough sometimes when you're working all the time because journalism never stops. And you're missing graduation, celebrations, family time, friends time, because we're always working on nights and weekends while business people are off the weekends, right? I think sometimes people don't realize, yeah, we would love to watch the games, but there's some people there that's actually working, people working to cover those games. Like, there's somebody working there, and that's us. That's what we love to do. Talk to me about how you keep your mental health strong and not experience things like burnout, overworked, underpaid. Those are some of the words that you hear in the journalism field, but also keep your work-life balance because you seem like a wonderful woman to be around. Absolutely wonderful to talk to, for sure. For the first 30 minutes, you've been absolutely wonderful. But you also seem very, um, very passionate and very talented, obviously, about your work. So tell me, how do you keep that balance and keep your mental health strong?
You're right. It is really tough because not only is it such a competitive field, um, like, once you make it, you are still worried if you're gonna keep your job, I guess. Or,
Yeah.
I think for me, I dealt with a lot of like imposter syndrome, to be honest, just
Okay.
because like I of course did national media before coming here through freelancing, but this was really like a more serious job. I was gonna work on their like people I watch on TV, so I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm gonna work at CBS. And
Right.
then I had to start over with like sources and stuff for like women's basketball. Like I kept my men's basketball once, but I still felt like, hey, I really need to prove myself. And all my editors, my managers were like so great. They were like,
Mhm.
listen, we're investing in you because we like your skills. Like, you can translate those skills to anything. But I think you always kind of, at least for me, I'm a perfectionist. So you always kind of feel that pressure from yourself to like perform at your best the entire time, like never
Right.
mess up, and you're always worried if people like you or not. So I remember just feeling like those nerves, like, can I do this? And my first manager, I remember he kind of really helped me through that a lot
Mhm.
because he gave me a pep talk that I'll never forget. He said, sometimes when you don't feel like you belong, you have to remember that you are here. He talked about The Simpsons. I've never really watched The Simpsons, but he
Hmm.
quoted this one episode where I guess Homer Simpson is like a big shot. He has this like awesome job and stuff, and then he goes to look at I think like a hat shop, and he's gonna buy a hat, but he's like, oh no, only like successful CEOs with this and this would buy this hat, and he's like,
Right.
wait, I'm one of those people. And that simple story from The Simpsons, it helped me so much because I'm like, wait a minute, he's right. I am here. am I not
Hmm.
sitting here, covering March Madness? Am I not
Right.
sitting here covering the NBA playoffs? And I think that really opens your eyes to see like, hey, we're all human. Like, especially when you get to talk to your coworkers or other people who also work in the field, you realize we all have insecurities, and that really helps a
Yep.
lot because it makes everything more like real and not just like a fairy tale and perfection. Like we all struggle. I have some coworkers who I can talk to, like I'll call them and I'll be like, hey, I'm, not feeling so great about this, or
Right.
how do you deal with this? And then also when you work remotely, which we do, you also have a lot of isolation. So you have more time to get in your head, and you can think more about everything you've done wrong or what could have done better. So it's always helpful to like communicate with people, realize you're not the only one going through this stuff. And then to me, that's kind of like a comfort, like, hey, we're all struggling, so that's cool. It's not just me. That's what I do. And of course, talk to your friends, family. My dogs, I have two little Yorkies, so I hang out with them. Whenever I'm with them, the world seems fine. And then people like my grandma, who doesn't understand what I do, I think she's so helpful to be, kind of like grounded, because my grandma loves me for me. She has no idea what CBS Sports is. She doesn't know what
Right.
I do all day on the computer, and it's so
Right.
refreshing to be around people who just care about you. So yeah.
No, that's a terrific, terrific answer, Isabel. It really is. It's a hard question to ask, but it's a necessary question because a lot of people do feel this way. A lot of people feel that, sometimes they don't have people to go and talk to. Some people have said on this platform that they seek out therapy, which is great. It's amazing that you do. I haven't sought it out, but I'm a huge mama's boy. So I definitely like calling moms back home and talking to her. I'll just say, hey, mom, do you need anything? Are you okay? I just want to hear your voice, right? Because I don't have any family where I'm at. So it's refreshing to me to be able to pick up the phone and call her and talk to her, or call my dad and talk to him and hear his voice. But also, I like to work out as well. I like to go to the gym, play some music, take walks. I like to write poetry as well. I'm a huge poetry dude, so I love poetry, stuff like that. But I just love the fact that what you're talking about, you do have one of the things that you said that really stuck out with me was the isolation part. When you are remote and you're by yourself, you can get inside your head. Like there is thoughts that come into your mind because it's not like you have a chip on your shoulder, but it's almost like it's somewhat similar to that, meaning that you're always thinking that you got to prove yourself because someone gave you this opportunity, right? And you're like, man, I know I'm here and I know I'm here for a reason, but I want to continue to show why I'm here for this reason because there's always somebody behind you that is looking over your shoulder, seeing if there's going to be any spots available, right? And that's the kind of mindset that I have too, is that so I totally relate to you on that. But that's also a great segue again for this next question, which is advice. And I'm sure that there's been college graduates, recent ones that maybe have came up to you or people that have reached out to you via social media. What kind of advice do you give individuals that want to pursue a career in sports journalism?
I think the biggest thing that I say to them, depending on like which area they want to do, because sometimes people reach out to me for like PR stuff or sports management, and I'm like, I don't know about those really. But when they
Right,
want to work in
right.
actual like sports media and they want to be, writers, because
Hmm.
that's also different from like TV. Like I get to be on camera too, but it's also because of my writing. So I asked them, hey, are you only looking to be on camera, or are you also looking to write and do camera? Because I do multimedia. Um, and if you are going to be a writer, what I suggest is listen, at the beginning, I know it's really hard to get credentials anywhere. I know it's hard to
Yeah.
even people seeing what you tweet. Like you can tweet something amazing and people might not see it. Um,
Hmm.
but what I say is just keep doing it. For me, I started when I was at UNM, and fortunately people love the Lobos, and I just, I was there. I was at the university. I was a student at UNM covering the Lobos, but you're still competing, not really competing, but competing with the local media, right? But you're, just a
Sure.
college kid. But for me, I
Right.
was like, I took it so seriously. I was like, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm sitting next to the Albuquerque Journal guy. Like, I'm
Hmm.
going to behave the same way he is. Like, if he's going after a story, I'm also going to go after that kind of story because I'm not just a college student, Even though at that point, I didn't even want to go into journalism, but I figured if I was doing it, I was gonna do it right. So I remember just seeing like, okay, I gotta post on social media.
Hmm.
I gotta post like, hey, what's happening on the court? Just keep your eyes open for like anything that maybe the TV cameras won't see, and you can talk about that. I try to show up to practices as much as I could. The school paper did not pay me very much. You got paid to tweet, but like $10 or something like
Right.
that. Um,
Very little, very little.
very little. So, to me that didn't matter. I just wanted the experience. So I would go to as many practices as I could, press conferences, and just like share that on social media. At first, like social media will be your biggest tool.
Mm.
Because unless you have a blog, but it's hard for people to find your blog. So you gotta use social media at the beginning. But also just be willing to freelance and do like anything. Like don't think any job is too big for you. Um, you know, for me, like I was fortunate that I started with D1 basketball, but I know a lot of people start with high school. And I
Yep.
think that's totally fine. Like don't think anything's beneath you. I remember when I got this job, people were like, "Hey, don't worry, maybe someday they're gonna promote you to men's basketball again." And I was like, that's not what I'm looking for. Like that's not a promotion. Like
Hmm.
women's basketball and men's basketball are the same. Like I know at the time, like it was only 3 years ago, but like women's basketball has been becoming more popular.
Yeah, it's
But it's
growing, no question.
like equal level, and people see it as
Yeah,
like less. It's like, no, it is not less. I'm gonna take this just as seriously as I did men's basketball. So be
sure.
willing to be flexible. I had to change a little bit of my career path, and that's okay. Because I had all these goals. I think, when I was younger, I was like, I'm gonna be the Lakers beat writer. Or work for a national media company and cover, like the Lakers all the time. But that changed. I do still cover the Lakers and stuff, but I have a whole new like outlook on this. So be open to trying new things. Nothing's beneath you. Just post stuff. Eventually, people kind of like you post so much about something that people are like, oh, that's the girl that's gonna tweet about bowling every weekend or something. Like,
Hmm.
whatever your niche is, just go with that, and eventually you can expand it. Like for me, it was New Mexico, then the Mountain West, then a lot of like the West Coast conferences.
Hmm.
And then, eventually you get to a national program or like a famously known national program like Gonzaga that takes you to national and then you can cover more stuff. But you got to start little. Like, be realistic. Don't try to compete with like the big people at the very beginning. Just do your thing and be the best you can be at the very beginning.
That's great advice. Excellent advice. And it's so easy for people to try to emulate others because they always want to see themselves in that spot, right? I mean, that's typical. I mean, that's a natural type of feeling. I always tell high schoolers, because I also substitute teach as well. So I tell high schoolers that ask me about journalism, try everything. Don't limit yourself, whether it's the print side or the broadcast side, whether it's editing, writing, directing, anchoring, reporting, producing, whatever role it is, just try it because you never know what you like unless you do it. And like you said something that was really key. Your start. Don't be discouraged that you have to start in high school. I started in high school. There's no question about it. I started covering high school football, basketball, lacrosse, and I was covering girls' high school basketball. And if you know about covering girls' high school basketball, if it's not the top tier high school basketball, sometimes it can be kind of rough covering those games. There's no question about it. But I still took it as seriously as I possibly can because it's something that I love to do. And if you love it with a passion, it doesn't matter what level it is. It could be Pee-wee. You're going to try to write it to the best of your abilities because at some point, the work that you do will get recognized. And the next thing that I want to highlight on before I get to the next question is you talked about the comparison with men's basketball and women's basketball. And that's something that I'm hoping as a community, a society, we kind of get away from and kind of get away from treating them differently as far as them being as less, one being less important than the other one. They're terrific athletes in women's college basketball and terrific athletes in men's basketball. It's just a great sport to cover. It's a great sport to watch. It's a great sport to be around. There's stories to be told. And I'm a huge advocate for women reporters and women's sports because I feel like they should get more recognition. I feel like they should get more notoriety. And it's just something that the representation is not where it needs to be. Me being ethnic, obviously you being ethnic, um, You don't see a lot of women of ethnicity covering stuff, and we need more. So I feel pretty strongly about that, Isabel. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent, but I feel very strongly about uh, ethnicity and inclusion and representation sports coverage.
Like a quick note on that, like I appreciate it. For me, I remember, doing men's basketball. I was usually like the only girl there, and then also like probably the youngest, but that's because I was, just out of college.
Hmm.
But I remember kind of telling myself like, hey, this is cool, like I try to not see myself as just the only girl. I was like, it's okay. I'm just one of the reporters. And
Right.
part of me, I think I really liked that, I could prove to myself and other people that like I can do this. Like not because I'm a girl, I have to cover, girl sports. Obviously
Right.
now I'm doing women's basketball too, but it's
Hmm.
different. Like it wasn't like when I got hired, they're like, it's not because you're a girl that we want you
Right.
to, women's basketball. It's
Right.
because we think your skills are good. And I think that's the right kind of mindset. Don't just say, okay, women have to cover women's sports.
Hmm.
Because I'm Mexican, I remember I interviewed for like this one job where they thought I was just gonna cover soccer. I'm like, wait, like I can do basketball too, like
Hmm.
not because I'm
Hmm.
Mexican means I'm gonna cover just Mexican sports. I'm not
Right.
just, a woman who's gonna cover women's sports. Like you can cover whatever you want. Like it's just
Absolutely.
a sport, like take it seriously. And just don't let other people put you down, and also don't put yourself down. Don't be like, oh, I'm just it's just me, like that it feels so awkward. Like just do it. Like when you act like you belong, people treat you like you belong.
Absolutely. And it's good to see faces like yourself because it gives people hope, gives younger women hope. Wow, Isabel's doing her thing, covering not only men's sports, but she also covers soccer. She's so versatile in the sport game to where she can do features and do recaps and do, all different kinds of articles that it gives people hope that, wow, maybe I can do that too. And that's what we need. We need more representation like that for sure. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to become a sports reporter as well, because I want younger African American men to know just because you go into some obscure areas, because I'm here in Marshall, Minnesota, which is 3% African American. There's not very many African Americans here. But if you see me out and about holding a camera, taking pictures, writing articles, maybe you might have some interest. Maybe I can make an impact like that. And I don't mind going to places like that at all. That comes now, I should say, sorry, I should say that we have came to the portion of my podcast where we're going to play my interactive game called This or That. It's an interactive game that I like to play with all my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast, and it's really simple. I get to throw some things at you, and you get to choose this or that. So, Isabel, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Out of these two restaurants, which restaurant would you rather eat at? Popeyes or KFC?
Ooh, Popeyes.
Girl, you on point like a period right now. Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. I like how we starting off right now. We starting off pretty good. Okay, here we go. When it comes to chicken wings, which flavor would you rather put on the wing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Guess barbecue. Go with the
Oh,
classic.
okay. Okay. Now, something tells me you rather put like a buffalo sauce on the wing.
No, I'm not a fan of buffalo. I think with barbecue, I like it. But I feel like there's so many. There's some are like spicier than others.
Mm.
I'm not like I know I'm from Mexico, but I'm kind of a wimp with spicy food. I guess that was just a tough choice, but I do like barbecue. My favorite's garlic parmesan though, because I feel like that's
Oh,
different, and I feel like you have barbecue with everything. So when I have wings, it's like let's change it up a little.
okay. I'm with you on that garlic parmesan. All right. I ain't mad at you, girl. I ain't mad at you. All right. Do you like your wings wet or dry?
I think it depends on the mood. They're both good, but I would say maybe wet. I think that's
Okay.
more traditional. The meat is softer, so yeah.
Okay. Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Bone in. Bone in.
Okay, so you like to get a little bit messy,
Yeah,
get a wet
it's
wipe and go to
experience.
work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll use
Okay.
like 10 wet wipes, but still
Yeah,
committed.
you right. You right. I'm gonna need to leave 5 or 10 for sure. I like my wings wet. I like barbecue and lemon pepper, but barbecue definitely if I had to choose one. So I'm the same. So right now we are rocking out. These next five questions have to do with music concerts that you rather attend. So, Here we go. The first one might be a little difficult. Which music concert would you rather go to? Rihanna or Beyonce?
This might be controversial, but maybe Rihanna. I don't know. I
Ooh.
just remember loving so many of her songs like growing up. Like Umbrella and all of those. So I think Beyonce's amazing. But yeah, I think Rihanna.
Okay, that's all right. I ain't mad at that. I would choose Riri as well, but only because I haven't seen her in concert yet, and she barely does any concerts, and I would like to see her for sure. Okay. Which music concert would you rather go to? Usher or Chris Brown?
Mm, I feel like I always put them sort of together. I would say Usher though. I feel like he has a lot of
Hmm.
like good features with a lot of artists. So yeah, but they're both I don't know. They're both same equally good.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That was a tough one. This might be another tough one. Which music concert would you rather go to? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Why are you doing this to me? Um, I don't know. I guess Drake. I'm gonna have to say Drake because I think Kendrick would be so lit, and I do obviously love his music. I respect him so much. But like, if we're all being honest, we all know a million Drake songs. Like, we grew up with Drake,
Oh,
so
no
like, as a
question.
society, so like, why not? I think that'd be so fun. I feel like I know a lot of songs from both, but maybe more Drake because I've been listening to him forever. So yeah, probably Drake.
Yeah, my favorite Drake album is still Take Care to this day. The Take Care album is just a bop. There's no question about it. So I feel you on that. I'm sorry, but this is tough
You're gonna get me
questions. These are very
canceled.
tough. These are very tough questions. Here we go. The next one. Which concert would you rather attend? Would you rather go see SZA or Megan Thee Stallion?
Mm, I think Megan Thee Stallion because I feel like it'll be super lit. I can just picture the crowd doing all the dancing and stuff. So yeah, probably her.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Oh, I ain't mad at that. Now, the last one of the music. Which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Ariana Grande or Taylor Swift?
I think Ariana Grande. I'm not gonna say I don't like Taylor Swift, but I'm not like a huge Swiftie.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know. Like I'm worried that I would go to the concert and it would be too intense for me. Again, I respect her as an artist, and I grew up listening to a lot of her songs. I haven't really listened to her recently though. And I think with Ariana Grande, like there are some songs that like I still kind of like play on Spotify. So yeah, I'll have to go with that.
Yeah, the one to save your tears with the weekend is one of my favorites for sure. No question of her in the weekend. Okay, I'm with you on that. Do you like desserts?
I do. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to name four categories of desserts. You have to choose one of these categories that you'll never eat again.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. The first category is candy. The next category is cookies. The third category is grouped together, cake/pies. The last category is ice cream. Which one are you getting rid of?
That's an easy for me, candy. I feel like unless it's like a
Mm.
chocolate bar, I feel like a lot most candies, like I'll try one and then that's it. Cause I don't know, when it's like a hard candy or like a lollipop or something, it's good for a little bit, but then it just gets tiring. So I'm okay with losing candy. I get to keep cookies and cakes and stuff, so that's totally fine. I'll goodbye candy.
Again, girl, you on point like a period. That's what I would say. Because I would choose candy as well. I'm not a huge chocolate person, although I do like a cookies and cream. I do like my Kit Kats. I do like my Reese's. But I'm much more gelatin than chocolate. So definitely Lifesaver gummies, Sour Patch Kids. That's more my style when it comes to candy.
See,
So, but I
chocolate you
was
can have with pastry, so like I'm not really
right,
losing it. I don't need a chocolate bar if I can have a chocolate cookie, so it's fine.
right. Which is my next follow-up, which is what is your favorite cookie?
Okay. I like a lot of cookies, but I feel
Mhm.
like one that every year I have to have is gingerbread.
Are
I
you
just really,
serious?
I'm serious. I like the spiciness of it. It's different because I feel like chocolate cookies, like It's hard to go wrong with them, but like gingerbread, even with the houses, like once, you're done with them, I still like to break little pieces and then just, have it with milk or coffee. It's just perfect balance because it's not like overly sweet. It's just fun.
You have definitely won my heart, Isabel. There's no question about it. Because I was going to say gingerbread. I really
Oh,
was.
cool. Okay.
The reason why I like gingerbread is because I remember growing up in elementary school where they used to buy the icing and we used to have to like put like graham crackers on like the milk cartons, and we used to like buy icing and put like all kinds of stuff, and we used to have gingerbread cookies that we would put. We do it every Christmas time, and we just make our own snack house. But it was like on top of a milk carton, and it was so good. Plus, if you warm up a gingerbread cookie, it's nothing better than a soft gingerbread cookie. Nothing better
I'm gonna have to try that. See, I didn't
than
grow up building gingerbread houses,
Mm-hmm.
but once I was here at the U.S., I'm like, I'm gonna try all the traditions, because
Right.
some of these are pretty good. So now every year I make sure I make somebody in my family, at least one member of my family, has to build a gingerbread house with me. Um, this
Hmm.
past year, I talked my grandma into it. And it was a little bit of a mess, but I was like, Grandma, we're making memories. So
That's
yeah, I
right.
love gingerbread houses.
That's amazing. Shout out to Grandma. Gingerbread. I love that. That's
It's
awesome.
team player.
Well, do you like potato chips?
Oh, I love potato chips so
Okay.
much.
So, same format. I'm gonna name four brands. You have to choose one of these brands to get rid of. So here we go.
Okay.
The first brand is Pringles. The next brand is Lay's. The third brand is Ruffles. The last brand is Doritos. Which one are you getting rid of?
I would say Pringles because
Mm,
there's something about them that when you're eating them, you feel like you're not satisfied. They're almost like
right.
air. Like you eat them and then it's like, wait, I want more. So then of course you finish the whole can, but like there's something about them. I still like them, don't get me wrong. It is between Ruffles and Pringles, but like Pringles are definitely like it's a little bit of frustration when I eat them. So that's my answer.
Mm. Ruffles is definitely my favorite chip. I love the sour cream and cheddar Ruffles. That's just my favorite chip of all. But you don't have to pick between the three. But what is your favorite potato chip?
I definitely like sour cream and onions, but I also love
Mm.
Cheetos like so much. I used to be so into like the flaming hot, but then that's so messy, and then your stomach hurts when you eat too many. So I'll do like regular Cheetos, but yeah, anything cheese. Like I'm a huge cheese fan. So
Yeah.
those two, like Cheetos, and then whatever any brand of sour cream and onion.
Yeah, I kind of figured you like cheese from the pasta take. When you say you just put as much cheese on it as possible, I was like, okay,
Well,
yeah,
as taller as like that's reasonable, I guess. It's possible in a reasonable manner. Like, don't also
sure.
make a cheese thing, but yeah.
Sure, absolutely. I totally understand that. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Would you rather watch baseball or football?
Football.
Which
Yeah.
sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Oh, they're both fun. Maybe badminton because I've been into racket sports. So I feel like
Okay.
that would be fun to do because I like tennis and pickleball.
Are you any good at badminton?
I played when I was little just for fun with my brother and my cousins. I don't know if I'm any good, but I feel like, I'm a very mediocre, probably under that category of mediocre bowler. So why not? I feel
Mm,
like I could be a better badminton player.
okay, I can respect that. I totally respect that. I'm definitely a better bowler than badminton. Badminton, I be whiffing all the time on that birdie. Like I think I'm hitting it, and the birdie just falls to the ground. So
Well, it's fun
yeah.
because you get to run around and like with bowling, you have to like wait for people to go. So like it's still obviously a sport and still like
Mhm.
fun, but it's more like casual. And I like things where I'm like constantly moving. So
I love that. Yeah, I can respect that. I love both sports, but yeah, definitely I'm better at bowling for sure than badminton. I want to ask this next question, as I typically do with all journalists that come on here, and that is, give me a bucket list, I should say, of a top four events that you would like to cover in your journalism career that you haven't covered yet. And I'll give you my four to give you a little bit of time to think about yours. Um, no particular order, but four events. Olympics 28. I would love to be in Los Angeles for that. I don't care what event. It could be whatever. I want to cover the NBA Finals as well. I would love to cover a college football playoff game or March Madness, which I'm hoping to scratch that off the list this next year. Or last but not least, I would like to cover a World Series. So
Okay,
those are
that's a
my
good
those are
list.
my four.
Good list. I
Thank
have
you.
covered a lot of things remotely. Obviously, I was not in Paris, but I covered the Olympics then. But I do want to cover them in person in LA.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, Olympics, obviously, that would be awesome. I feel like it would be super cool if I got to cover something like surfing, just because it's so unique and different. But I mean, I'll probably be covering basketball. But anything Olympics, like I've always dreamt of like being there, like even just watching. So that would be really fun.
Yeah,
Um, I've covered like NBA playoffs and stuff, but I feel like a Game 7 NBA Finals would be super cool to do
that'd be amazing.
in
Yeah.
person. But, like, has to be a Game 7, like when everything really matters.
Hmm.
So that'd be really awesome. World Cup, because soccer is
Oh
amazing
yes,
in person,
absolutely.
so gotta do that as well. And then the last one, ooh, that's really tough. Um, I don't know, because I mean, I love March Madness, but I've covered that. Um, Maybe like a Super Bowl. Just because I don't cover football all the time, but I feel like Super Bowl. It's a Super Bowl. Like you want to be there. I don't do a lot of NFL. Like I've done some stuff, but it would be just cool to say I went to the Super Bowl. Or actually, no. Wait a minute. Hold up. I gotta change my answer. So I've covered this remotely, but I would love to cover like a tennis tournament in person, a Grand Slam.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if I have to pick one of the four, maybe Wimbledon. So
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I think I fun. So never mind football. Like, yeah, Super Bowl's cool, but yeah, I'll do Wimbledon.
No, I would love to do Wimbledon for sure. I'm a huge tennis fan. I was a Rafael Nadal fan for many years. I loved him. He was my favorite player to watch, for sure. I was gonna say I covered the Super Bowl this past February,
That's cool.
in New Orleans. And you would definitely love it. I mean, obviously the next two Super Bowls are there in California, so it could be a possibility. San Jose is obviously going to get this year's Super Bowl, and the very next year is going to be in Inglewood, which is the home of the Rams and the Chargers. So maybe, possibly, you'd be able to go to the Super Bowl and cover that since it's in California the next couple of years.
Pretty sure I fall really low on our football writers list. But, if they end up not traveling, why not? Like, I've accidentally, or not accidentally, but like, like because of circumstances, like I have covered some football players, like Kirk Cousins. I ended up doing like, this interview before he left Minnesota. So it's
Mhm.
kind of funny. Like I'll hit some of those like big players once in a while. I don't know if it's enough for them to be like, yeah, Isabel, go to the Super Bowl. Because there's so many other more qualified people who follow it a lot more than I do. But hey, if I get the
Sure.
chance to even be in like the parking lot, I'll be like, yeah, that'll be so
I
fun.
mean, absolutely. Please jump on it, grab it for sure. No question.
Like, I'll bring you guys coffee. Like, just let me in. I'll be like the production assistant, and maybe they'll let me in.
Right. Right. You know what I mean? Like I'll hold the rope for the camera. Like I just want to be down there on the field. I just want to be around it. I'm totally fine with that. Fun
Exactly.
fact, fun fact before I get to the next question, that is I've never had coffee. Is that bad?
Really?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
never had
It's not
coffee. And
bad. It's just unique.
I've been to many Starbucks, don't get me wrong, been to many Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts where people get their coffee from, but no, I've always every time I go to Starbucks I get tea. Um yeah, I get tea there, but I've never had coffee. Never had
You
coffee
don't
in my
like the
life.
smell of it? Like, it's just I smell it and I crave it. So I don't know. Like, why haven't you?
Well, all my family normally drinks it, everybody does, and I've always smelt it, and it's a good smell, but I've never really been like a hot type of drinker. Like I don't really like to drink hot stuff because the only time I've ever drunk it in the past is when I haven't been feeling well.
Yeah.
So I'm normally a naturally cold type drinker, so I'll drink water, I'll drink tea, juice, um, At times, I'll drink some soda. If it's soda I'm drinking, then it's probably Diet Mountain Dew or something like that, something diet. Because I don't really like to drink too much sugary drinks. But definitely, no, zero juice and then tea. That's what I like to have for sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. We talked about advice you would give, but what is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
So I already talked about my manager, like that advice he gave me. So I'll tell this cool story because it's not exactly advice, but it's kind of like a
Mhm.
cool moment where when I was seeking for advice.
Okay,
So I when I was covering Gonzaga, it was around the pandemic, and I remember thinking like, well, this is cool, I'm covering this, but I was doing it remotely. Like I didn't go to Spokane until like this year. Um,
right,
so it was still a cool opportunity, but I was like, hey, this is my time when I can really like hit up people and ask for advice. And I remember I was gonna go to this like women in sports conference, and then of course it got canceled because of the pandemic. But they had a
right,
list of people you could reach out to for advice. So I was like, I'm gonna go down this list and like I just wanna pick everybody's brain. Like I wanna know how they got to where they are and like what I should be doing. Like I'm not gonna be like asking them for a job right now when everything's really hard and like I don't even know them, but like I just want to know them. Like I want to know who is in the industry. So I remembered I called Debbie Antonelli, and of course I knew who she was, but like. And this was me. Like, I feel like low key I'm delusional because I'm just always like, I'm just gonna talk to whoever. Like, I don't really
right.
think about like who it is. I'm just like, hey, why not me? Like,
Absolutely.
and mentality, like, let me just call them, like, why not? So I read the book. I was
Sure.
like, you know what? He's right. I should just call Debbie Antonelli. So I emailed her. She's like, yeah, sure, you can talk to me. And she was super nice. But I remember, I told her like, yeah, I'm a men's basketball writer. She's like, well, I do women's basketball broadcast, and I'm like, okay. But do you have any tips? And she's like, well, they're kind of different, like, do you want to be on camera? And at that point, I was like, I don't know, maybe, but like, I'm looking more to be a writer. And she's like, well, either way, just what you're doing, obviously it's working, like, keep freelancing, keep working hard. But,
Sure.
she talked a lot about like women's basketball. And at that point, she was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I wish I could, give you more advice, but like, I don't know much on the men's side. And I'm like, that's okay, I'm just interested in hearing more about what you do. So she told me about herself and stuff. But it's just kind of funny because, like the point of the conversation was just sort of like, yes, keep doing what you're doing. But
Mhm.
like there's not much I can do for you since I'm in the women's space. And then now, like a couple years later, I never thought I would be doing women's basketball, but here I am. So I tell people like I haven't even talked to her since then, but I'm like, oh my god, like Debbie Antonelli kind of like manifested this for me. Because at that
Yeah.
point, she was like, would you be interested in doing women's basketball? I'm like, I think I'm not gonna switch. I'm already doing men's. She was like, that's fine, but at that point, it was not crossing my mind. And then she was talking about like the importance of women's basketball and growing that, and here I am, like becoming a part of that. So it's kind of cool that I went from having that phone call to now, and hopefully someday I get to talk to her again, and she won't remember who I am, but I'm definitely gonna tell her like, hey, you kind of, I guess, did something.
Right. Kind of manifested your future at that point. We're pretty much what direction you were going in. That's
Yeah,
pretty
like a
awesome.
year later, here I was doing women's basketball. So I'm like, what? Like
Th-
Debbie.
that is amazing. That's awesome. I appreciate you telling that story. I'm gonna get you out of here on these last two questions, and the last one first question I should say, sorry, is rapid fire. So basically, what I'm gonna do, Isabel, is I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you just shout out the first thing that comes to your mind with glee. Okay, so here we go. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles,
Chicken or ribs?
chicken,
Red or blue?
blue,
See, oh no, juice or excuse me, sorry, juice or soda?
juice.
Favorite Netflix TV series?
I work for Paramount, so I don't know. Let me think. Oh wait, Squid Games is really good. Squid Games is really really good. So yes,
Squid Games was damn good, but that season three, whew, that was something. That grabbed my heart right there. That's those.
I'm
Have you
sad that
seen?
it's over. Yeah,
Yes, right.
my whole world
Oh,
is like, what do I do now? Like I can't even be like excited about the next season because there's none. So yeah, it's Squid Games.
Right, right. Squid Games was definitely good. I'm waiting on Stranger Things season 5. I'm waiting on that, so hopefully that will come very soon for sure. Um, Favorite board game?
I really like Rummy Cub. I used to play with my grandma. So I'm like
What's the,
really, really good at that. It's almost like
okay.
poker, but with like, the dominoes type of, I
Hmm.
don't know.
Oh,
I don't know how to explain it, but Rummy Cub. It's like a grandma game,
Rummy
but
Cup.
it's fun.
Okay, okay. All right. I'll let you roll with that because I have no idea what that is. I'm going to have to Wikipedia that for sure. Uh, um, Favorite card game?
Blackjack.
That's mine too. My favorite card game as well. Favorite alcoholic drink?
I think depending on the vibes, but I'll say gin and tonic, just because it's refreshing. I know a lot of people don't like it, but like it's just refreshing.
Well, that's pretty solid. I'm more of a Hennessy person myself. I like some Hen, I like some Coke. That's my drink. I get down on that pretty good. Favorite sandwich?
Hmm. Oh my gosh, I don't know when the last time I had a sandwich was, but
Mm,
I like, okay, so maybe sometimes you just scrape like a super basic ham sandwich with like potato chips. I feel like that's such a like summer thing, you know? You just like go swimming and then you just want a super basic sandwich. I feel like that just hits the spot like nothing else.
so you are, because people think that I'm weird, Isabel, but I do put chips in the middle of my sandwich. Do you do
Yeah,
that?
is that weird? Like, I didn't know that was weird. I thought we were all doing that. At least I do it all
Uh,
the time, so.
I do it all the time, but when I moved here to Minnesota, people thought I was a little different. And I was like, what do you mean? Where I grew up, this is normal. This is what I do. I do this all the time. Like I buy the sour cream and onion chips and I put the chips right in the middle and I eat the chips in there and boom, that's what it is. It was
I
like,
think
why do you eat your chips in a
it's used to it.
sandwich?
It's normal. Like, it's. They just have to try it. It's so good. It's a good
Right,
texture too.
right. Girl, you get me. I totally understand that. I love that, Isabel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you had a choice to bring 3 people with you on vacation, who would those 3 people be and where would you go? Now, before you choose these people, you can pick family, friends, or celebrities.
Ooh. See, I feel like if I get any vacation, it would be like messed up not to take my friends and family. Um, so only 3 people because I have a
Only,
brother, so I
only,
can't be like, let me take my parents and then my brother. So I
right.
guess he has to sneak in. But if he doesn't go because he's busy at work or something, I would probably take my best friend because we call each other everything buddies. Like we're down for anything. Like, do you want to go read by the beach or do you want to go snorkeling? Or do you want to like
Hmm.
go hike this mountain or go shopping or rooftop bars? Like, you have to have a person that wants to do everything with you. So probably my best friend Michaela, my parents,
Okay.
and then my brother will somehow sneak in because he should.
Okay. Where, where, where would you go?
um, where would I go? I mean, I've never been to Europe, but I feel like maybe going to Italy would be fun. I think it would be cool to take, I know I already like making pasta, but like a pasta making class there. I think that would be just so fun and stereotypical, but super fun. So we would make pasta, we would eat gelato, we would see all the cool sights. And I think everything in Europe's super close together. My aunt lives in Spain, so obviously I would go visit her. I would go to France because I minor in French in college, so might as well put it to use. So we're just gonna do a little tour in Europe.
Okay. The best French you're gonna get from me is oui oui. That's about it.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, that's about it. I know poquito hablo español. I know that. So I can
Muy bien,
speak
muy
that a
bien.
little bit. You know what I'm saying? I can speak that pretty good. Okay. So if you had a choice to choose 3 artists or 3 songs to listen to on repeat and never get tired of, who would those 3 artists or 3 songs be?
That's really tough. I feel like you needed to give me a month to prepare for this one. So that's not fair. Um, okay, I feel like I need to pick like 3 different categories so then I don't get sick of it. Um,
Sure.
so I really like, let's say, okay, so I need a Christmas song for like Christmas time, right? So I'll do like
Okay.
It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. maybe the Michael Bublé version. I
Wow.
don't know. I
Okay.
like that jazzy type of feel. So either him or like maybe like a Frank Sinatra version or something. But that one because I need a
Wow.
Christmas song.
Okay.
I know, super
Mm.
random, but then I think a summer song. I'm gonna have to pick. I don't know. Like I'll do an EDM song first, I guess.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
this is really hard. Oh my gosh.
I
I'm trying
know, but
to
listen,
get
this
my
is
answer
this is the
in my
work
head.
hard, play harder podcast. It's supposed to be hard.
This is not fair. Like I thought you would ask me about like my basketball decisions, not like music. That's tougher. Let me see. Hold up. Can I cheat and just look at like what I've listened to like recently? Because I feel like that
You
will kind of.
could.
Okay. So
Yes. Yes, you certainly can cheat.
okay.
Cheating
Cool.
is
When
required.
you ask that, like my mind just goes blank. Like it's like I've never listened to music before in my
I
entire life.
and I totally understand that, Isabel, because when you're put on the spot, sometimes, it goes blank. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Listen,
Um,
the three, I know what I would choose. I would choose
just tell me yours,
Jay-Z.
and then I can like really give you a good answer. So you go first.
Okay, no problem. I would choose Jay-Z. I gotta have me some Jigga. I would choose R. Kelly because I love R&B music. And then the last one I would choose that I would never get tired of is probably Ray Charles. So
Okay.
something old, something rap star and R&B.
Okay, so if I don't have to pick specific songs, then I feel like that's easier. Okay, so I will pick Fan Sinatra because I do like
Hmm.
that jazzy type of feel, especially for the fall. I'll
Hmm.
pick Zed maybe for like a summer type of vibe, and like he's a
Okay.
DJ, so I don't know if that's cheating, but like I'll get a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then I'll do I guess Drake. Like sometimes you need to listen to a little bit of rap before basketball games and stuff, hype yourself up. So I feel like that covers my bases a little bit with like
Yeah.
something more like to hype myself up, something fun for summer, and something like nice to like watch the sunset, sip on wine, and think about Christmas.
Absolutely. And Ray Charles has a Christmas album, so I love listening to his Christmas song, The Spirit of Christmas, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And my favorite of his is Little Drummer Boy. So I think I'll be great with him for sure in
Yeah.
his Christmas album. So no, that's pretty amazing. I'm glad you picked those three artists. And this has been a really, really dope conversation, Isabel. Learning about your background and growing up in Mexico, coming over to the States, coming to South Carolina, then moving out to New Mexico, obviously graduating from there, and then being able to work as a freelancer and work your way up to where CBS recognizes your talents and hires you on there. You do amazing work. Again, I don't think I'm breaking news. I think anybody that works with you, around you, friend, family, or coworker wise, would say the same thing about you. You gave great advice, and I'm definitely a new fan of yours. Um, I'm definitely going to stay in touch with you because, again, you're amazing. And I want to ask you the final question, which is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything at all before we conclude?
Not really. I mean, I feel very grateful to have my job. I know it's a very tough job to get. I know people see it as a dream job, and it really is. I really enjoy it. I still have to work really hard at it.
Hmm.
You meet the expectations. Um, so I don't know. Like I'm just grateful for it. I think I get so many cool opportunities because of it. And like I talked about earlier in the podcast. I'm just doing this to one because I love it, and two like I just believe in whatever you do, just do it the best you can. Doesn't have to be sports reporting, doesn't have to be journalism. And for me, I just want to do the best that I can to make my family proud, show my parents their sacrifice has been worth it. And, I'm gonna, hopefully eventually I do super well where I can help them out, even like half as much as they've helped me out. So that's just kind of like who I am. Like I'm just a hard worker who also obviously apparently it's this podcast makes me sound like I'm obsessed with Christmas and cheese. I promise I'm not. I have other hobbies. I'm not a weirdo. But yeah, like, I'm just a regular person. I feel like a lot of people who work in media are regular people. So
Yep.
yeah, there's not much more to say. That's it. Thank you so much.
No, I can attest you are certainly not a weirdo, that's for sure. No question about that. And thank you again for allocating your time to me to hop on my podcast. It has been an absolute pleasure. You take care and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening and week. You and I will definitely be in touch.
Thank you.